Hello and welcome to a weird version of the Pop Culture Jungle. I don't even know if this is going to the right podcast or the right playlist because I didn't check that. Um, Justin's joining me. This is not
Hello.
Tuesday; it is Wednesday.
Yeah,
Justin canceled.
I had to take my fiance to a dentist appointment. Thank you. I did not cancel.
You know it's Tuesdays.
Huh?
You know it's Tuesdays.
It was an emergency appointment.
I really don't care. Anywho, on top of that, there one of our main sites we are pulling some of the articles from today. The Walt Disney Company was down last night with unexpected downtime. But we needed that for kind of setup. But the good thing with us being postponed till today is it means we can also put in here the Daredevil review, which will be at the end of the show. And Rotten Tomatoes was allowed to release the critic reviews for Disney Snow White. And those went live at 3. So we've had 3 hours and 15 minutes at this point that they can be live. So I think that's where we're going to start because
All right.
it's always fun to go ahead and look at a movie. Now, hold on. We do not ever let Rotten Tomatoes dictate how our opinions and our reviews will go for a movie or show. We do like to see what other people are saying. I will be going to see it sometime this week. I don't know when yet, but I will get that out my review, and it will not be reliant on Rotten Tomatoes. And then Justin will give us his update on Tuesday.
Most likely, yeah.
So let's pull it up. How bad can it be? Boop. Oh wait, I think I just shared the one tab.
Oh,
Rotten Tomatoes, Disney Snow White, a 49% tomato meter.
yikes.
Critic reviews, we're going to do a couple of these ones down here, and then we'll go into some more of the specific ones. I had high hopes that Snow White would make me happy. Instead, this dopey remake made me sleepy and grumpy.
Oh,
1.5 out of 4.
oh.
This is a 3
Out
out
of
of
4.
5.
What the heck?
It's Rotten Tomatoes. This is why I don't like Rotten Tomatoes scores. Their scores are always all over the place. This is a 3 out of 5 from the Irish Times. The most distracting flaws are rooted in the problematic recreation of animated material. The permanent magic hour lighting is hard to look at. Worst of all, the decision to cartoonize the dwarfs alongside human actors is hugely problematic. What else we got going on? Let's see. This is a 9 out of 10. This is a tomato. Okay. Snow White is a magical, enchanting, and vibrant live-action Disney adaptation anchored by Zegler's powerful performance. The story conveys a much-needed message. Kindness is a lost virtue that the world desperately needs. The Latino slant. That's an interesting review. The movie couple. Rachel Zegler shines as Snow White. The first act starting off strong, but the rest of the movie felt choppy and patched together. Godot's evil queen did not work for me, though she looks fantastic.
Okay.
Movie files. This is a 2 out of 5. What could have been a magical reimagining of a beloved classic, instead a middling film with the Snow White adaptation inability to balance character depth and campy flair, ultimately detracting from its overall impact. We'll go like 3 more.
Okay.
The culture mix. Even though Rachel Zegler shines as the title character of Disney Snow White, the rest of the remake's live-action performances are mediocre to terrible. No magical spells can erase this. Cash grab films, unconvincing visual effects, and other missteps.
Oh my God.
Jim Sherbury.com. 3.5 out of 5 on this one. The terrific thing about Snow White 2.0 is that while they've updated the tale a bit to make our princess a more proactive character, they haven't really altered the essence all that much. with many images and themes echoing the original.
Okay.
And the punch drunk critics, 3 out of 5. It's not quite fairest of them all, but hardly a poisonous apple either. I don't know. Based on what we're seeing right there, what's your thoughts?
Just based on these alone, again, we haven't seen the movie ourselves. It sounds like Rachel Zegler does put in a pretty decent performance, but everything around her is kind of middling, is what I'm hearing.
I'm hearing that. I'm also wondering. Again, the usually these reviews are people who are invited to review the movie, so we're gonna say that. I'm also wondering how many of these were also asked to speak better of her performance to try to help the movie in the nicest way. Because I will say when we look at, I never watched the remake to the musical she was in, Steven Spielberg's
West Side Story.
I never watched the remake of West Side Story. I did watch though Hunger Games. I have
to take a phone call real fast.
The Hunger Games one where she's in it. I can't remember that name either. Snakes and Songbirds. And at least in that, I thought her performance was one of the more weaker ones in it. That being said, everybody has good days. Everybody has bad days. Who knows? Maybe it's good. We will, again, like I said, we'll see it. We'll go ahead and make our review on it based on our true and honest opinions.
All right, sorry about that.
You're good. But yeah, so we'll see. We'll just see where it goes. I will say though, based on my personal opinions from seeing how films have done in the past, a tomato meter of 49% is awful. And for a movie that realistically needs to make $1 billion, that's not in the right steps forward.
And we were talking off screen about this, but typically when a tomato meter comes out, it never goes up. It usually only goes down.
Yeah. Especially on the first day we get anything from the tomato meter, when they first get released, they're usually very favorable in the lean of the movie.
Yeah.
Now, Captain America: Brave New World, we did see that shifting quite a bit after the first week because it came out. Where was it? That was at
It was at like a 70, a 60, and then it dropped down to like a 50, didn't it?
I thought it came up first, then it went down.
I don't know. I wasn't watching it.
I mean, that's a 48.
Yeah.
So, if that gives you any indication, because this movie, we said was solid, but not necessarily good. That's kind of where we're seeing this going for this current next set of movies, or at least not next set of movies, but this next movie.
Mm-hmm.
I want to bring over the screen. This is how I meant to do it. There we go. Now, One Piece time.
One Piece.
This is from Screen Rant. As anime piracy grows, streamers are reportedly working with Trump allies to stop thieves. What you look about?
What does that even mean?
With pretty much what this means is more and more groups are either pirating or sharing logins. So the big streaming companies are working with cybersecurity administration teams connected with the Trump administration team to try to combat it.
Okay.
All honesty, I think the Trump allies title here is just to increase the algorithm, to be honest with you.
Probably. Gotta increase those clicks.
With anime privacy becoming more and more widespread over the years, taking away billions from economies, it seems like there are just about to be some radical changes in the United States soon regarding how to combat it. This is the year yet another development from all countries all around the world are trying to tackle this tough issue, and it makes a major milestone. In an interview with Congressman Darrell Issa, Republican, of California's 48th Congressional District, the Ankler reported that a meeting was held on Friday where top Hollywood tech executives such as Amazon, Disney, Google, and more discussed the growing threat of foreign piracy and how to curb it. Issa reports that they were all in agreement with Issa's latest strategy, calling it judicial blocking. Issa's strategy is to restrict access to certain sites and URLs and not detain or prosecute owners of foreign piracy sites. Titled the American Copyright Protection Act, this will be a major move to help reduce the effects of piracy in America if ratified. Pretty much, they want to go ahead and govern more what different countries can access what websites.
Oh, okay, then.
I thought it was... Piracy is wrong. Let's just start with that. You should not go sell the 7 C's of the internet if you understand what I'm referring. Though piracy's been illegal, so it really makes me confused why this is a new bill. And this is kind of why this is in here, because this is entertainment-wise. But this just seems kind of a waste of, like, we're going to go ahead and set up this new law to support this law to stop piracy.
Taxpayer dollars, George.
Taxpayer dollars. That's all that is. I get why they're trying to get more assistance. I don't think this is what, Disney, Google, and such were expecting by going to the government for more assistance. It wasn't, let's just make another law because that helped the first time. But our true and actual One Piece article.
Okay, I thought that was the actual One Piece news. I was like, George, what the hell are you? Why am I here?
That's the little teaser. But One Piece this is coming from Collider. Jamie found this one. One Piece's highly anticipated return lands a new U.S. streaming home. If you're looking forward to the return of One Piece, the anime, and its Egghead arc, but don't own Crunchyroll subscription, Netflix has excellent news for you. This week, the streamer announced that the new episodes of the long-running anime series will also be debuting on their platform, and fans won't even have to wait long. The new episodes will debut on the platform next month in Japan. The Egghead arc set to start on April 6th.
That's already happening, though.
No, but what this is saying is as they drop the Crunchyroll, they're dropping to Netflix. It was not happening this way.
Okay.
Netflix has been like a couple of seasons behind. They're all of a sudden just...
Well, no, because they were dropping like a week behind, I believe.
It wasn't a week.
I'm pretty sure it was because they have Egghead episodes. It goes to like it goes up to like Paramount War, and then it's just suddenly Egghead.
Oh, so they like missed the entire. They're like jumping in.
They're missing all of Time Skip except for Egghead.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I didn't know they were that far. My understanding was they were still in Wano.
No, they're missing Wano.
Gotcha.
Oh. So they have everything up to Marineford and then Egghead.
So then Jamie sent me a Nothing article.
Yeah, Nothing Burger, unfortunately.
I mean, it still, if you are watching Netflix, at least you get the same casting day as Crunchyroll.
Supposedly, it doesn't say any details.
It is simultaneously in Japan. It just doesn't reveal if it's simultaneously outside of Japan also.
Yeah.
But Lego Pokemon.
Dude, when I saw this yesterday morning, I was so excited. Short little teaser, nothing crazy. But it means that we won't have poopy Mega Block Pokemon anymore.
Yeah.
They weren't even Mega Blocks, were they?
No.
Yeah, they were like some off-brand.
So, for the first time, the LEGO Group will be bringing the most loved Pokemon to life in a brand new way with play experiences that will delight new and existing fans alike. Fans should keep their binoculars peeled and their Pokédex ready to experience the world of LEGO Pokemon coming their way in 2026. Let's see. I doubt there's anything else there.
Nope.
Yeah. But if you were here on Sunday, you would have seen that, or one of the other people that watched it in that post, we talk about Lilo and Stitch. So we're going to talk about Lilo and Stitch. This is coming from the Walt Disney Company. Lilo and Stitch trailer sets record as the second most viewed Disney live-action trailer of all time, and this was as of March 14th, so 5 days ago. This week's launch trailer for Lilo and Stitch was a huge success for the Walt Disney Company. After 24 hours, the trailer has become the second most viewed Disney live-action trailer of all time, with 158 million views, behind only the 2019 Lion King teaser trailer. Within an hour of the release, Lilo and Stitch reached #1 spot for trending on Twitter, X, and remained the top 10 for the hours following. The trailer also trended on YouTube, taking the #1 spot following release and reaching #1 on China's Douyin platform, which is really surprising. I did not expect it to take #1 on Douyin.
I know nothing about Douyin.
Douyin is the, if I'm remembering right, I've never looked deep into it. It is the Chinese government ran pretty much YouTube.
Okay.
That is the main one they have access to there.
Mm-hmm.
And normally whatever is top 1 is always country based.
Yeah.
Excitement for the film has continued to grow since a first look at everyone's favorite renegade alien was revealed at D23. I'm curious. Where are we at? We're at 9.5 million views, 170,000 likes, 21,000 dislikes. Still not bad.
Still not bad. What's Lion King at now? Maybe it's different. 9.5.
Lion King. (2019)
teaser.
trailer.
It was a teaser, I believe.
It was the teaser.
Oh, I think I just saw it.
Those
Yeah,
are all
that
minutes.
Oh.
That's Rotten Tomatoes, IMAX, official teaser trailer.
No, that's Canada.
Oh. Teaser trailer, Disney.
That's Mufasa.
God. They both look the exact same.
Would it be easier to go to Disney's channel?
I don't know. That's Ireland. Hold on. We're getting there. We're getting there. Maybe we're not. Well, Disney Studios Canada again.
for Mufasa.
Philippines. Why do they have so many different channels? Ireland. Okay, fine. We're going this way. Oh, it's because they reposted the trailer for Lion King in the middle of the Mufasa teasers and such. I think trying to get more.
You think so?
No, I know so because it was right. The Lion King official trailer. 4 months. All of a sudden, that is back in their listings of when they posted it. They reposted it.
It's because you're searching by Lion King.
I get this, Justin.
Okay. But it's not by post date because that was it said 5 years ago.
You're right. I'm trying. This is a bunch of garbage.
What was the number they say there on the website?
158 million. No. They don't give us the number for Lion King.
Of course.
Is that going to open it? Nope. That just takes you straight to Disney Plus. Of course it does. Oh my God.
It's also like they're taking into account like views on all of their trailers as well.
Mm-hmm.
Across all of them, because like Lilo and Stitch on here has like 7 million, but like they're counting 158 million somehow.
Yeah. Yep, I'm seeing that too.
Yeah. Okay. Oh
well. But since we're over here, I need to know. The official clip there is at 80,000 views, but that's only at 107. Okay, that was the last trailer, I think. Yeah. Yeah, it looks like that's the last trailer. It still only has 117,000 views and 2.4 to 15. So it's trending just as well as the other ones did, except for it's not getting any views this time either.
Mm-hmm.
One second. Now curiosity has killed the cat. Let's see. Pick a showtime and a theater. This is Thursday.
This is Thursday. Do the 8:15 p.m. in Cine 1. This is Arizona. Oh.
Oh. Okay, let's go somewhere we know. Let's come. Can I change? Thank you. Let's go over here. We'll do 7:30. That's about the same time.
Okay.
I mean, it's better.
Oh my God, that entire front row is bought out.
I've never seen that front row actually on sale except for when the theater's full. The front row and these outside seats are never for sale.
Oh wait, yeah, they're blocked out.
Yeah, they're blocked out. They're never for sale.
Huh.
I think because you cannot actually see from there, so they just block it.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. Okay. Let's be fair. Let's go Friday. We'll go right back to 6:45. That's not theater. 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
That's better.
Wow.
That's much better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
This is 6:30, so this is not Cine 1. $7.45.
That's still pretty decent.
That one.
Oh my gosh.
I'm actually quite surprised. We're seeing
Yeah.
better selling, except for when
This is better than Cap.
It is looking better than Cap.
Surprising.
And one of the jokes people have been making though is this movie has such a big marketing budget they could just be buying their own seats. 7 p.m. on a Saturday.
Go midday on a Saturday.
Go midday Saturday.
Yeah.
1:30.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So it's doing better than what Cap did.
Yeah.
In the pre-sales, the second go around.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how the reviews go. But sticking with Lilo and Stitch, Screen Rant. Lilo and Stitch is going to be massive, and it's 2025's best shot to repeat the 2.6 billion Barbenheimer box office event. Disney recently released a full trailer for the upcoming live-action remake of Lilo and Stitch, and it already seems to promise a box office success. Lilo and Stitch's cast sees a few actors from the original animated movie return, including Chris Sanders as Stitch. With some great new additions, the live-action Lilo and Stitch will serve as a direct remake of the original animated movie. But the change in medium follows Disney's current trend, showing that Lilo and Stitch could be as successful as previous remakes, such as The Lion King. It doesn't mention Snow White. While the one-to-one remake nature of the plot remains, the audience may not be surprised by how the story unfolds. It has been very exciting to see new information about the characters' appearances be released. Lilo and Stitch is currently expected to be coming Memorial Day weekend. Now, why are they saying it's so big?
Yeah. Why are they wording it like that too?
It's
Expected.
okay.
They're saying it's gonna be like, all right, bro.
Lilo and Stitch releases the same day as Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Memorial Day weekend, ushering in the summer season, like the perfect time for Lilo and Stitch to hit theaters. But it will be joined with Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, the 8th installment of the Mission Impossible series. We'll see Tom Cruise reprise his role as Ethan Hunt again, alongside the franchise regulars Ving Rhames and Simon Pegg. Per the teaser trailers released so far, the upcoming Mission Impossible movie will certainly include more of death-defying stunts. Now, the Mission Impossible franchise always seems to sell well, and so that's why they're saying it could be the Barbenheimer. That is your Oppenheimer movie. That is your male-focused movie where
Okay.
I don't see Lilo and Stitch falling into the Barbie crowd, but it falls into the family crowd, which some of the Barbie crowd will go to.
Yeah.
But that's why it's worded the way it is.
Okay.
But they're predicting that weekend a $2.4 billion box office.
I don't know, man.
It's going to do well.
I don't think it's going to do that well.
Yeah. I think it's going to be Lion King.
You think it's going to what?
I think it's going to beat Lion King.
Mufasa or Lion King?
Lion King. Almost anything could beat Mufasa. Mufasa did okay.
Before we move on from Stitch, do you wanna look at the stuff I sent you earlier today?
Oh yeah, we can pull those up.
Because we brought this up on Sunday in the bonus show. We discussed how the early marketing for Stitch, how they recreated some like classic scenes from the older Renaissance films for Lilo and Stitch, and they put Stitch in them. They did something kind of similar. Made me happy. I assume it made you happy.
Yeah.
Trying to vamp here. If you can, just pull up their Twitter.
Because this first one's on Twitter.
They're all on Twitter. I just copied the image when I texted it to you.
Okay. Oh, that's sad.
What?
Apparently, theme park lost one of their puppies today. One of the puppies passed away. That's depressing.
That's unfortunate.
I'll have to send him a message. Yeah, there. It took a minute to get down to him.
Yeah, you're good.
Since Disney had a post like 8 times since then about Snow White.
Yep.
So, I love these.
These are great.
So we got the live action Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, Cinderella. No. Yes.
Yes.
Snow White.
I believe that's all.
This is not the hand of the old hag, though.
That is not Gal Gadot's hand, though.
well, no, it might be Gal Gadot's hand, but it is not the old hag. The old hag is an old lady with old hands. This image is not like you can see. This is clearly been photoshopped to get. This
oh yeah, it looks bad. But
bad.
I love it still.
Like these other ones look actually pretty good. Then you get to this one.
Yeah, I think it's just the way he's hanging.
It's everything about this one is just odd. Like the bite out of the apple is the opposite side of where he's biting.
Oh yeah, because he's biting it after Snow White bites it.
Sure. But Justin, how nervous is the Walt Disney Company about the opening of Epic Universe?
No, not at all. They have plenty of attractions that have opened in the past 5 years.
So then obviously there's pre and post cruise discounts that are now being offered for Disney Cruise Line guests are just because
35%?
Yes.
Oh my god!
Yes, there's an extended offer for cruise line guests to do your pre or post cruise stay at the Walt Disney World Resort for 35% off select rooms at the Disney Saratoga Springs or Disney's Old Key West. Now, for reference, you can go ahead and book through Disney to stay at the Hyatt Hotel there at the Orlando Airport. This is about $100 more expensive than that. To go stay on actual Disney property, it's only $100 difference, and that's including your transportation. Isn't that crazy?
That's insane.
But again, of course, they're not nervous.
They're not. Why would they be?
That was just.
Remember, George, they had 5 great attractions open within the past 5 years.
But being that we are talking Disney, we're going to talk Disney executives. We are in the hunt for the next CEO. So, first things first, we're going to start over at WDW News today. We know there's 4 main candidates, and this article is going to touch into it. However, one of the candidates have dropped out. Jimmy Pitaro, not interested as search continues for CEO Bob Iger's successor. A new article provided for more information on the ongoing search of successors, Disney Company. Let's see. The new article by Bloomberg provides a little more information on the continued search for the perfect replacement of the current Disney CEO, Bob Iger. With no major announcement, rumors have swirled around several individuals who may be in line for the position. Now, we do know that currently we had the co-chairman of Disney Entertainment, Miss Dana Walden. We have
Josh tomorrow.
well, I'm going to go.
I was going in order of their photos.
Well, so it's Dana Walden, chairman of the ESPN and sports content, is Jimmy Pitaro. That's this dude over here.
Mm-hmm.
Chairman of Disney Parks Experience and Products is Mr. Josh Tomorrow.
No, sorry.
And the co-chairman of Disney Entertainment, Alan Bergman. Now, Bergman has since the beginning pretty much been, he's on the list of like the short list, but he's kind of the bottom of the short list because unless if it goes to the entertainment division, it'll be offered to Dana Walden first. If Dana denied it, and they still want to go that way, that's when he would come into play. Realistically, our main two candidates we've had seen running this whole time is Dana Walden and Josh Tomorrow. However, Jimmy Pitaro was still an option, but it is Pitaro has communicated to both friends and the board that he is not interested in the role. So he has turned down that option, even if not saying he was the top of the list, but that's one less candidates. Now they're down to 3 internal candidates that they're looking at.
Yeah.
So I wanted to take a little bit of time and we're going to discuss it. It's what my next 2 articles are connected to. Who do you think is going to take over as CEO if they go internal? To start,
where did Iger come from? Because I know Chapek was external, right?
Chapek, I believe, was brought up also.
Oh, okay.
Iger, I believe, if I remember right, Chapek came from the Parks division. Iger was moved up through ABC.
Okay.
Iger is a television guy.
Yeah.
That's why when we really look at whatever he's done, even in retrospect, majority of what he's done on the big scale has been to just, what can I do to sell like ad spots and such?
Yeah.
So we're going to go through both their histories and kind of get an idea. So Dana Walden is where we're going to start. She has been straightforward, the front runner this entire time. Everything we've always heard was she was the front runner. It was going to pull up in a second, but you're fine.
Okay.
Not to get political, but a political aspect to take into consideration was at when she was especially being pushed forward to the front was during the last election. And she has come out and during the election said straightforward that one of her good friends is Kamala Harris. So everybody had pretty much predicted if Kamala had won, Dana Walden would have for fact have been the next CEO. So Disney would have had that direct tie to the White House. Things didn't go that way, and that's when all of a sudden it sounded like they were reconsidering options, but Dana Walden's moved her way back to the front spot again. So as co-chairman, Disney Entertainment, Dana Walden oversees Disney's full portfolio of entertainment media, news, and content business globally, including Disney's streaming business. In this role, Walden leads Disney's world-renowned, award-winning content, brands, and businesses, including ABC Entertainment, ABC News, ABC-owned television stations, Disney-branded television, Disney Television Studios, Freeform, FX, Hulu, Originals, the National Geographic content, and Onyx Collections. She also oversees the marketing, operations, and distributions and business groups across these brands and has shared oversight of direct-to-consumer technology and ad sales, as well as international content and operations. Under Walden's leadership, ABC has secured its position as the #1 entertainment network for 4 consecutive seasons. It does not specify what 4 consecutive seasons, because I don't believe they're #1 right now. The first time that happens in more than 25 years since she began overhauling Hulu's signature original series in 2019. The streamer has seen record viewership for such hits as The Handmaid's Tale, The Kardashians, and Only Murders in the Building. Additionally, ABC News continues to dominate as the number one news network in America with such iconic programs as 2020, Good Morning America, Nightline, and World News Tonight.
I don't think we gotta go much
I don't
deeper.
think we need to go much deeper. That kind of gives you a good overview.
Yeah.
So as we've seen, Dana Walden very much is a television person.
Yeah, very much.
I'm just gonna cruise real quick. That's just going over the awards that shows have gotten. We're gonna jump to this last paragraph because I think it is kind of important. In 2021, Walden was given a Lifetime Achievement Award from Harvard undergraduate Women in Business. She has received the National Association of Television Programming Executive Brandon Tarkoff Legacy Award and was named MIPCOM's Personality of the Year. Just recently, she was honored as CNBC Changemaker, a distinction that recognizes women who are transforming business. She sits on the board of directors for UCLA's Johnson Comprehensive Cancer Center and Saban Free Clinic of Los Angeles. Additionally, Walden is a member of the USC's Presidential Leadership Council and the Presidential Circle of the NAACP. She also was appointed by President Biden to the President's Export Council, the National Advisory Committee on International Trade. Now, Mr. Tomorrow.
Sorry.
Yeah, for theme parks fans, he's not necessarily the top of our list at the moment, but beggars can't be choosers. At this point, I think almost anybody would be better than beggar. Josh Tomorrow is the chairman of Disney Experiences, a creative engine and powerful long-term growth driver of the Walt Disney Company. Entrusted with bringing beloved franchises to consumers through products and theme park experiences around the world. Tomorrow oversees Disney parks encompassing 12 theme parks in the United States, Europe, and Asia, and Disney signature experiences, which offer family travel and leisure experiences beyond the theme parks. The business also includes the top-rated Disney Cruise Line, consisting of 6 ships and 2 island destinations, as well as Disney Vacation Club, Adventures by Disney, and Story Living by Disney. The homes that they're building out there in Rancho Mirage is under his department. His portfolio includes Walt Disney Imagineering, the world-renowned team of artists and engineers. In addition, he leads Disney Consumer Products, which is interesting since Dana Walden also is in charge of consumer products. Home to the world's largest licensing businesses for toys, apparel, and home goods, including the acclaimed Nat Geo franchise. And the world's largest children's print publisher, as well as Disney's digital games and apps businesses, including its collaboration with Epic Games. Tomorrow's scope includes global strategy, finance, operations, marketing, creative development, and technology, with a worldwide team of 185,000 cast members. I'm just going to begin. We're going to do like we did the last one. This is all just kind of continuing, just going over what recently happened. Tomorrow does serve on the National Board of Directors for Make-A-Wish America, a charity that has partnered with Disney to fulfill more than 155,000 wishes for the last 44 years. He's also a member of the United States Travel Association Leadership Roundtable. So, those are our top 2 candidates. Dana Walden is probably the front runner. She probably is. Justin, what's your thought?
I agree with Kevin here.
Now, here is the other side of this. I'm gonna combat from for a minute. I don't think Walden is the good choice, and the reasoning is she has pretty much always focused on the television department and television division of the company. When even in current numbers and current statistics, the company really is held up by the parks division. Dana Walden, I still see being their pick. I don't think she is the best choice. Neither one of them realistically is my best choice. Neither one of them I think can handle running both sides of the company. I think if we get Dana Walden, we're going to have at least another 2 years of a Bob Iger situation. In fact, let's go Bob Chapek career. I'm pretty sure he came from the Parks division. Oh, that's nice of you guys to have hidden that on your page.
What's that?
Disney still apparently has connected to their website. Bob Chapek's resume, pretty much. Executive officer for the Walt Disney Company, one of the world's largest. Chapek's nearly 3 decades Disney has been marked by the growth and transformation. Setting the stage, Disney's second century, Mr. Chapek established 3 fundamental pillars of his strategic vision for the company's chief executive: storytelling, innovation, and strategy. Disney consumer products.
Oh, okay.
For a period, important information, storytelling, learning, as president and distribution of the Walt Disney Studios. So he's coming from the studios.
He came from Studios Film.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's. She also knows connections in Hollywood. She does know connections in Hollywood. I will say, though, I think star power is not as strong as it was like 6 years ago.
I agree heavily.
We're getting to a point that today's modern day media intake and media viewing is more reliant on whatever the content is, or if you're leaning on stars, you're not leaning on Hollywood stars, you're leaning on like influencers, because influencers will pull the people more than big stars will nowadays. Like, again, 6-7 years ago, if you told me there was a movie with Mark Hamill in it, either as an actor or voice actor, I'd go to it in an instant. Nowadays, that doesn't do anything for me. What I look more at is how the movie is. When we looked at Lilo and Stitch, there really isn't any A-list actor in it. And that looks like the best movie we've seen in a long time. But Justin, what if all this talk was for naught? Let's go from that Park Place. Disney may delay Bob Iger's CEO replacement announcement, according to a new report from Bloomberg, as eternal candidate underwhelmed. We may be stuck with Iger for longer. As Disney continues its painstaking search for Bob Iger's CEO successor, insider Disney Dana Walden and Josh Morrow have emerged as the frontrunners, but serious questions remain about both candidates. Disney's board, led by former Morgan Stanley CEO James Gorman, has indicated it may delay its final decision until as early as 2026, perhaps due to mounting internal concerns with uninspiring pool of external talent. This is the quote from the article. Delaying the decision until early 2026 has practical effect. It has muted speculations about a topic that has become distraction both internally and externally. Executives have been interpreting every decision by Walden or Tomorrow as part of a play to look good in front of Iger. It also allows the board to fully own the decision. Disney doesn't want another Bob Chapek disaster. You know, Bob Chapek didn't really have enough time to actually do anything. He also took over the company in probably the worst time they could have, second worst time they could have ever taken over the company. But you're right. They don't want to go another route that way. The problem is, when we talked about this before, is we know Bob Chapek or Bob Iger was still leading the board and still the creative. What was the officer title?
I have no idea.
Because we talked about it. It was the Was it the chief creative officer?
Something like that. Yeah.
And so all creative and company decisions were then ran and decided by Iger, or not, by Iger, and Chapek was just the CEO. And so I think the Disney company did Chapek dirty. I don't think he would have been a good CEO, but for the shareholder side, he was fantastic. Again, stocks were the highest under Bob Chapek, which is still funny to talk about. Disney stock. I mean, it is up almost $1 today. Yeah. So let's pop this back up. Here is when I don't want to go max. So here's March of 2020. Stock was down at $85. That is when the pandemic is breaking out and the transition of power had just happened. Okay. It goes from $85.89. That was the low point of the last 5 years to $172.89 in that was March to December, so 8 months. This is the whole time he's in charge. The rumor came out right around in November that he was going to be forced out. And then January is when Iger took back over.
Yeah.
And then it just drops. This is when the first talks of either Elon or
Apple.
No, it wasn't Apple. It was the guy who ended up going into the proxy war.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember his name. When the talks came that they were going to probably buy it out, the rumors died, so it dropped again. Something comes out here, February 3rd, 2023. There's something that happened in this time period. I can't remember what that is. This is the proxy battle.
Mm-hmm.
And then it plummets. And came back up a little bit, and then continues to plummet. Until today, where it just finally got back over $100. So, very rocky start. This is not a number we would want to see going into tomorrow. Because if tomorrow goes really bad, this is going to plummet.
Yeah.
If tomorrow goes really good, which I don't know how it could, because I don't know if they have any answers for anybody yet. This could jump, but I don't see it. Again, it closed yesterday at $99.35, and it's only at $100 now. So We'll see where that goes. Now let's get into Marvel.
Marvel. I like Marvel.
Both these are from Screen Rant. We'll start with this one. The Russo Brothers' New Adventures Secret Wars comments have made me convinced the MCU is heading towards a reboot.
Like what we've been discussing on the channel.
Correct. This is why I wanted you in on it, because you're more tied in with all this side stuff than I am.
Yeah.
The Russo Brothers have revealed exactly what kind of impact Avengers Secret War will have on the MCU, making me sure that the popular reboot theory will actually come to fruition. Marvel boss Kevin Feige confirms the Russo Brothers return for Avengers Doomsday and Secret War in 2024, raising excitement for Phase 6 movies, which could now follow in the footsteps of Infinity War and Endgame. Avengers Secret Wars will bring the multiverse saga to a close in May 2027. And I reckon it will be the most thrilling spectacle of the MCU has ever seen. While the Russo Brothers' non-Marvel projects have always fared so well, 2025's The Electric Slate, most recently, the duo have become two of the most successful directors ever because of their work in the MCU. Doomsday and Secret War are in good hands, and while we're still not sure what stories will be explored in the upcoming Avengers movies, I'm very excited about them. I'm very excited about them after the new comments from the Russo brothers. So, what did they get into? The greatest thing that ever happened is we got to, get immersed in, a 20-minute movie arc and see an ending to that arc. What's compelling about these two new Avengers movies is their beginning. It's a new beginning. We told a ending story. Now we're going to tell a beginning story. And then who knows where we'll go from there. Maybe it'll be another 5 years. But I think we just needed that time and perspective to figure out where it needed to go next. And the only thing that brought us back was the right story. I think what brought them back was money.
Yeah.
But you're right. We have been discussing this.
I've had this theory for about a year now.
Yeah. But even just this weekend, you and I were kind of discussing this. And I'm still sitting here. So this is one of the things that we talked about off camera. I still think after Endgame, there should have been a break. There really wasn't. Everything was already in production, either in writing or filming at that point, that Marvel was trying to continue just steamrolling right ahead, be it under Disney's leadership or Marvel's leadership doing this. We won't know. We're not part of that team. But nonetheless, the team kept pushing. And again, if we look at the start of the Marvel movies, so we still look back at Iron Man 1, there's a pretty good gap between Iron Man 1 and the next Marvel movie.
Because Iron Man 1 was a fluke.
Correct.
It was just there for the hell of it. I think Jon Favreau just wanted to make an Iron Man movie because he liked Iron Man.
And so we go ahead and they make that, and then that does successful. So that's when they decide just to make another movie, and they kind of go that way until we get to the Avengers.
It was they decided to make Iron Man 2, and at that point they were establishing a bigger world, but nothing crazy yet, just more within that world. And that's when they started the every movie sets up the next one, because that sets up Thor like directly.
Because I don't think we actually get a kind of like set idea on the Marvel backend side of where we're going until we get to Avengers. I think the Avengers movie,
They knew when they were making Iron Man 2 that they wanted to do Avengers.
Correct. What I'm saying is that they only knew to that point. I think at Avengers, they kind of started getting the bigger picture of where they were going to be going to.
I understand what you're saying now.
We can start planning things and start making things actually cognitively make sense connecting forward. Where
so what you're saying is that like Avengers in the back end was like the first step to them creating a path to Endgame.
Yes.
And I wholeheartely agree with you there.
Because I think what it was I still think Avengers, when they went into it, Avengers, again, even at the time, was very, very questionable because of how many names they had in it and how expensive that movie was going to be. And so I think wholeheartedly that they went into it pretty much thinking, this is it. If we make more superhero movies, then cool, we will. But this is the peak of where we're ever going to be able to get to.
Yeah.
And the movie did so well that they sat down at that point, because there's a gap again after Avengers.
Let me see.
It's like a year or two before we go into production again.
I think it's a year.
Marvel movie release order.
Iron Man 3 came out the next year. I think it came out like a whole year after. Yeah, it came out a whole year after.
Okay. So then, so that kind of goes along with it because again, we go back to Iron Man, where it really had nothing super special about it.
Yeah.
And I think that's really where we get the time that, okay, let's start writing and mapping this. and they may have only mapped 4 or 5 movies in advance, but still knowing the end part of that section, where we got to Endgame, and we had no idea what to do.
Yeah.
And Endgame is a perfect finale for the first set of movies. And frankly enough, my opinion should have been the end of that planet, that universe. We could have restarted at that point, and everybody would have been fine with it, because that one closes out very well. You would have been complaining because Spider-Man would be another issue. I know.
Well, it's more so like there's just yes, Endgame is great, but they leave a lot of stuff open for more.
Okay, but they leave.
Are you saying close those up and have it complete in that scenario? Okay.
Because I think they left it open, expecting just to be able to keep running with things, and then we get into this weird time period where we're at right now.
Yeah.
Where there's so much, in the nicest way I'm going to word this, there's so much garbage being thrown at each other because Marvel is a brand that cannot fail, which is what's causing it to suffer.
I think now. Oh, I mean, yeah, you're right. But I think we're past the slop era, and we're getting into more meaningful stuff that will genuinely set up Avengers.
And I think you're right, but my problem is when we're talking at this point, who cares?
I mean, Marvel fans, but you're not drawing in casuals with this stuff.
You're also burning your casuals. Your Marvel fans, though, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
is we've seen, just even in the numbers, even just in the viewership of either films or TV shows, we're seeing the steep drop off at this point of viewership, which is not a good sign. And this is why, again, I go back to, they should have just taken the step back and just not done anything. You can take a few years off with your studio to just start building a storyline if you're going to tell a storyline. But instead, we jumped straight to WandaVision, which to me is a great show. The first 4 episodes was very hard to get through. After that point, you enjoy it and you want to go back and rewatch the first 4 episodes. And we get a great character build. Then we go from WandaVision to Doctor Strange. And
okay, yeah.
Am I missing? Well, there's
you're following story threads and not release order.
Yes.
Which that's the other biggest part about the multiverse saga comparatively to the Infinity Saga. Was in the Infinity Saga there was basically one universal story thread where there was 2 technically, because you had Earth and then you had Guardians.
Yes.
Versus now we have like 3 or 4 major story threads that are going to somehow tie together in Avengers. We don't know. I think it's going to be 5 when Fantastic Four comes out. So,
well, okay. So I think the whole Loki subplot universe, I think that's done.
I don't think so, because I heard some leaks. I don't think so.
About Kang?
About Loki.
Okay, because I've heard that the actor who played Kang wants to come back as Kang.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if there's a realm really for, like, Loki's a huge popular character, but Loki season 3 was the last season they did?
Season 2.
Season 2. Its drop off was pretty steep.
It was, and I'd argue it's better than season 1 by like a landslide. Have you seen season 2 yet? You haven't even seen season 1.
I only watched 2 episodes of season 1. I was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
And again, that's hard for me. I sat through The Acolyte. I will sit through a show, even if I'm not invested in it, especially if I'm going to review it, unless I've just given up caring about the franchise.
Yeah.
And that's my problem with that. Because, like, again, going back to where I was running WandaVision, again, we have probably, in my opinion, one of the best storytelling and character developments for Wanda.
Oh my God,
MCU.
Yeah. It's fantastic.
Say
that again?
Yeah. She straightforward has a great arc of coming all the way up to this high point to breakdown to acceptance, and it's great storytelling. The show again didn't do great because you have to get through the first 4 episodes, and a lot of people didn't.
But once you did, it was amazing.
And then we get to again Doctor Strange, and they legitimately go character development. Who needs that? We're going to revert you back to where a villain again, where you were technically during WandaVision.
Sort of. It's complicated because like she has like additional character development that happens off screen, and that is never good because they fundamentally changed how her character thinks, and that's not good.
They changed up more than just how she thinks, but how she acts. They changed.
Yeah, exactly.
They looked at the comics, and somebody picked up the fact that there was a comic series where Wanda plays a villain, because Wanda does become a villain in one of the arcs. And they go, oh, let's just do that. We don't need to explain to anybody how we got here. We're just gonna go into that, and that's not good.
Yeah,
especially for fans like myself who loved the WandaVision series, saw this great character growth. And then you just pretty much said, forget you. You're a fan. You're going to like it anyways. We'll just go back. Now, I did enjoy Doctor Strange. It wasn't as good as the first Doctor Strange, in my opinion, but it was good.
I go back and forth because like that first one, I know you love Doctor Strange. If you don't know anything about Mystic Marvel, you're going to know nothing about Doctor Strange. And it's going to be so confusing and so unfun and so boring. But if you like Mystic Marvel, you're going to like Doctor Strange. Versus Multiverse of Madness is more of a casual, friendly movie than Doctor Strange 2016.
Yeah. I'm just curious.
What are you looking up?
We want this guy.
Are you pulling the tomato scores?
Here we go. This is what I wanted to pull.
Oh, okay.
We'll go that. But I mean, this is the numbers for Doctor Strange compared to each other.
I mean, a lot of that has to do with the MCU's ballooning popularity in 2017.
Yeah.
With Guardians 2 and Black Panther and Infinity War.
Yeah, because Doctor Strange was kind of lost by everybody in the middle of it.
Because it was one of those Phase 2 movies that nobody saw.
Yeah.
Oh, was it Phase 2? No, it was Phase 3 because it led into Ragnarok.
Yes.
Yeah. But it was like the beginning of Phase 3 because it was like right after Civil War, if I remember right. Here, I had it pulled up on my phone. It was the next release after Civil War, yeah.
So Multiverse
74? 74? Wow, that's high. That's higher than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, see.
Oh, wow. Okay.
No, this movie was well received. It just nobody saw it, which was the problem.
Yeah.
I mean, it was still financially still successful, but no, I think I really think Marvel would be in a much better spot if they had not just tried to continue to produce content. And a lot of that is the Walt Disney Company overlords saying that we need content for Disney Plus. Because I think Hawkeye would have done fantastic as a movie.
Yes.
But the show had pretty bad viewership.
Yeah. I personally like it.
Oh, I love it. It's fun.
Because it revamps a always boring character into an actual character.
My problem with it, if I can talk about a problem for a second, is it is clear when you watch it, it was supposed to be a TV show.
A movie.
A movie that got extended into a TV show, because there is a good chunk of the episodes, or a good chunk of being single episodes at a time, that you can just cut out, and it does not really affect the story.
Yeah. Like, you can cut out almost all of the tracksuit mafia.
There's a lot of just filler in it, and
I should say you could cut out like all of Echo and all of Fisk, and it's the same story.
Yeah. But we do have one more article from the Screen Rant about Marvel. I think the MCU is about to secretly debut its most powerful villain. Yes, stronger than Galactus.
What? Who could it be?
Do you want to speak up then?
Straight out the gate, it's going to be the Beyonder. How right am I?
I don't remember, to be honest with you.
Nightmare!
So the upcoming appearance of Galactus in Marvel Cinematic Universe promises to introduce fans to the Marvel films, the most powerful villain they've encountered yet. But at the same time, the comics might be paving the way for an even more dangerous antagonist to debut in the MCU. One who is already proven capable of defeating the Devourer of Worlds. TVA number 4, written by Kathleen Blair, the art by
Spoilers.
Paris continues to tease the miniseries direct links to the MCU, making the introduction of Nightmare, as some fans believe is coming in this issue, a big deal if it turns out to be the case.
So, here's the confusing thing about TVA, the comic.
Okay.
We don't know if it's MCU canon or not, because it is very, 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 very much TVA post Loki season 2. All of the characters from Loki that appear in this comic have their designs and are based off the likenesses of those actors.
Yeah.
But you have comic original characters like Spider-Gwen and Logan variant, a Gambit variant, all these people from the comics that are leading it. So it's really confusing, but like it's pulling stuff in and out from the MCU and from comics. It's very, 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 very confusing. And nothing's been confirmed yet, and it's really frustrating.
So it almost sounds like, in FNAF terms, like the Tales of the Pizzaplex, or the Tales of Tales of the Pizzaplex books and such.
Yeah,
where there's a lot of similarities to the series going on, and there's pieces we could probably pull from it for evidence, but it's not exactly the same story.
But at the same time, they directly reference Loki season 2.
No, yeah.
So it's very confusing.
So Nightmare is one of the most powerful forces in Marvel Comics and has a long history in the publisher's canon, but isn't exactly on a more general fans' radar, even compared to Galactus. This could change if the character were incorporated into Marvel Cinematic Universe, as his powers would make him a dynamic, thrilling cinematic villain. Which is interesting, because I don't think I've ever read a comic with Nightmare in it.
I mean, I've read TVA. Basically, from my very little understanding from the first 2 issues, I haven't read 3 or 4 yet. His powers is he's able to like tap into people's worst fears and make them reality. So like in the second issue, I don't even remember it because it was like 2-3 months ago. They might tap it into it here.
So he was in Avengers number 10 of 2023. Avengers number 8. Loki, the God Who Fell to Earth in 2023. Doctor Strange, number 2 of 2023. Ghost Rider Infinity Comics, 2022.
He looks ugly.
Yeah. Huh. So, being it looks like from my quick little scroll through, one of his biggest comic lines is Strange.
Let's see.
Does this go in? It does. Let's go back. Way back. Yeah, so like he looks like he's one of the main villains in Doctor Strange Sorcerer Supreme.
His greatest human adversary has been the Sorcerer Supreme of Doctor Strange.
He's first unveiled in Strange Tales back in 1951.
Yes. 51?
51.
No, 63. Strange Tales 110. So Strange Tales started in 1951.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. I needed to open up one level deeper. Okay, remind me, because we haven't heard much about it. Where is Strange at the moment?
Strange. That's the weird thing. It's assumed he's in the dark dimension with Clea, trying to stop a incursion.
Incursions. Where does Nightmare come from?
Nightmare is a demon. He comes from Nightmare World.
Okay, that makes sense.
The dream dimension, specifically.
We know Doomsday is the next Avengers movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they've already said Galactus is coming in Secret Wars, correct?
Galactus is going to be in Fantastic Four.
In Fantastic Four.
He's the main antagonist of Fantastic Four.
Okay. When's our next Strange movie?
I think we're slated to get one between Avengers. I think. But at the same time, I don't really see him fitting in anywhere in the big slate for where we're going.
That's what. Okay, this is from Reddit.
Mm-hmm.
Marvel Studios Reddit 5 months ago. This was a discussion. When do you think Doctor Strange 3 will release? Now that Spider-Man 4 has been dated for 2026, that's one less date available for the potential, but very likely, third Doctor Strange film. We did get 3 new dates for 2028. Could Doctor Strange 3 be post-Secret Wars film dealing with the fallout of Secret Wars?
I could see that happening.
Because people are saying it's supposed to be like the dimension, Doctor Strange Dimension of in the Darkness.
Yeah.
Which, if that's the case, I see that connecting back to Nightmare.
Yeah. I can see that.
Which, again, kind of makes sense because when we kind of were talking about at the start of Daredevil, one of our theories of who potentially one of the cameos could be, we did say right now it looks to be that Doctor Strange would probably be our new Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Trying to get them together.
Remind me to come back to that because I have stuff on that.
During the review or like relevant now?
Well, closer to the review because it's on the theory of who the cameo is going to be.
But with us, when just using our little theory of that, again, at this point in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, we really don't have anybody who can be Tony Stark.
No.
Who can be our leader of the Avengers. Because Peter Parker is way too young.
No, that's not happening.
That's not happening. Star-Lord, last we heard, technically, quote unquote, was retired, but we know he will be in the next movie.
I don't see
don't
him leading
another
a
team.
big team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we really don't have. I mean, because we can't. It wouldn't be Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel spends, according to movie canon, 90% of the time out elsewhere in the galaxy because she's too strong for the world.
It could be Cap.
I mean, that's kind of. I think that's kind of where they want it. We're trying to get in the Captain America movie to go.
Yeah.
I just don't know if I see him as a good pick for it. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, his character still has too many flaws with him. He still has too many mental turmoil, so many mental battles, and it's too much doubt in himself. Where Tony Stark, even though, yeah, he went ahead and would be kind of against himself, he still always fit very well as more of that fatherly leader position.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think, I think Cap could take it eventually. I don't see him being the first leader post Tony.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem to have that yet.
Could be Reed.
Which one's Reed? No.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so. I think Reed's just going to be kind of confused about whatever's going on by the time he gets into Doomsday.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's going to be too new that nobody's going to respect his leadership.
That's true, because a lot of Reed's leadership within the comics is respect. Yeah,
he could earn it one day if that movie set is successful.
Mm-hmm.
But if we were just go ahead and go into Doomsday and all of a sudden, oh, we just met you, but we put all of our faith and trust and our lives in your hand. That's forced. That's bad storytelling, in my opinion. I think Strange is our only viable candidate, and Strange in several different comic series has taken that position before. Strange has been a leader of the different Avengers groups.
Yeah.
All honesty, I don't see what's his name? The actor
of who?
Doctor Strange.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Thank you. I don't see him being in Marvel much past that third film.
You think so?
I don't. Most of the Marvel guys, realistically, once they get to their third movie themselves, they're kind of burnt out, and he is older. If he sticks around, great. I think he's fantastic in the role.
Yeah.
But I do see him coming to a retirement at that point. And so maybe that's going to be what it is. We get him in this leadership position while we're in this transition to the next main arc. And then he will step back or something will happen and we'll have a new leadership step in.
Yeah.
Be it either Mr. Fantastic or Cap.
Mm-hmm.
Or somebody new who they introduce and is strong enough to do it. But right now, I just don't see anyone really strong enough to do it.
I mean, like, who would even be on the Avengers right now?
That's the other side of that.
Yeah.
I mean, Wolverine.
No.
Wolverine is now in this universe.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he is.
He's in the Fox universe.
You're right. He is not in this universe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just a time skimp.
More or less.
But that does bring us up to discussing Daredevil.
We built this city. We built this city on rock and roll.
I felt Fiska's pain.
Dude, that was one of the most comedic moments I've ever had in television.
Non-spoiler review. It's good. Last episode was better, but it's good.
It's really heavy style.
Yeah.
Like, I felt the weight of these words, and like one particular discussion gave me a lot of thought, which doesn't really happen with television.
Yeah.
And I'd like to congratulate Marvel for having the balls to talk about something for once like that.
That's fair. That's where the non-spoiler review ends, because there's not really much to discuss in this episode, non-spoiler.
I think from now on we're gonna be doing a lot less non-spoiler review.
Yeah. You want to do the synopsis?
Oh shoot! I should have had that pulled up.
Yeah. I need a minute to rest my voice and stop feeling like I'm gonna upchuck right here on the camera, because that's a wonderful feeling.
So, for synopsis. All right, this is. Let me see. Nope.
Did you pull it up?
No, I got one. Okay, this is coming from The Ringer. So, the title of episode 4 is Sic Semper Systema, which appears to play on the famous Latin phrase Sic Semper Tyrannis, which translates to thus always to tyrants. It signifies that tyrannical leaders will always be overthrown. By replacing tyrants with system or the system, Born Again calls for the system to be torn down instead. Or, I saw somebody on Twitter who is like a Latin linguist, who said it would, if they were going for thus always to the system, it would more accurately translate to the Sic Semper Systemati, but because it's Sic Semper Systema, it would more directly translate to this is always the system. Just something more deeper to think about as we go further into this. So, fourth installment is directly showing how the system is failing in New York City and why changes need to be made to fix or dismantle it altogether. In the wake of Hector Ayala's murder at the end of last week's episode, Murdoch's plotline highlights the failures of the criminal justice system. At the beginning of episode 4, Matt takes a trip to the morgue to learn more about Ayala's death. While he's speaking with the coroner, they're interrupted by Hector's niece, Angela, who pulls Matt aside and calls for justice for her beloved uncle. She asserts that police killed Hector after he walked free at the end of his trial and laments the futility of believing that anyone will be held accountable for their crime. Murdoch responds with all the right things, saying that she has to believe someone will discover who's responsible for Hector's death, yet it's clear that he doesn't believe his own words, at least not unless that someone is him. So, before we go further, we're going to touch into that cameo theory a little bit more.
Okay, go for it.
So we all know, according to the rumor and the leak, that episode 5 is said to directly name a character, a known hero in the MCU. Correct?
Okay.
That's what you said, right?
I'm hearing back and forth of either it's going to be directly named or we're actually going to have a direct MCU character there.
Okay. I think they're going to be named, and then they'll show up in episode 8. And I say that because we know from both set leaks and an official announcement by the actor that Kamala Khan's father is set to appear in the show.
Kamala Khan.
Miss Marvel.
Thank you. I was trying to remember who.
So that leads me to believe that Kamala herself is going to be in the final episode, and that further sets up Young Avengers, because Angela Ayala has taken up the mantle of White Tiger before. So she could also appear on that lineup of Young Avengers. That's my current theory after this week.
I mean, I see it. I don't like it.
It doesn't make me as happy as a certain other hero that, but
it doesn't make me happy as like majority of the heroes they can pull on.
But it does set up Young Avengers, and I do like some Young Avengers. So
yeah, but I don't think we have a good group for the Young Avengers right now.
We're working on it. Actually, we have a majority of Young Avengers other than like Iron Lad.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Before investigating the White Tiger's murder, Murdoch deals with a new client named Leroy Bradford, who got caught stealing a box of caramel corn from a bodega. Bradford hopes to get probation, an unrealistic goal given his criminal record, but the best Murdoch can get him is a reduced sentence, shrinking his 30 days of jail time to 10. Murdoch tries to appease his frustrated client, calling anything below a 30-day sentence for someone with his rap sheet a gift, saying that 10 days is a miracle, but Bradford doesn't buy it. As Bradford explains, he spent his entire life trapped in a system that focuses more on punishment than on helping him improve his circumstances. For Bradford to experience even a small taste of happiness, he has few alternatives to breaking the law. So why'd I get the caramel corn? I like that stuff, and it tastes good, he says. And for that, they're willing to spend 5 times more to lock me up than they are willing to spend to feed me. And you come in here and tell me that's a gift. Those are direct quotes. Well,
yes.
Almost direct. I said a different word other than stuff. Well, he says a different word other than stuff. So, referring back to the non-spoiler section, that quote was a lot to think about. Like, even like today, I had moments just thinking about that kind of stuff. And I'm surprised Marvel would say stuff like that, because usually they dance around some social issues like that. Like, specifically in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, they talk a lot about borders with the Flag Smashers, but they don't ever actually say anything meaningful where they're directly saying stuff here.
That entire, like, all honesty, majority of this episode for me was a 3. Like, there.
Wow. Okay.
That entire section, I was just like, okay, like, I get why you like it. It felt a little too pushy, trying to do that kind of a talk. Which, again, you're right. It is very unusual for Marvel to go into anything a little bit more social conflict. But this felt more like we should be social conflict, and we're going to force it down your throat of a serious talk. It felt very, wherever Marvel has kind of gotten close to it and been a little bit more friendly about it, this one was just like, we're not going to ease into it. We're just going to dive straight into the conflict and issue.
Okay. Let me bring up a counterpoint.
Go for it.
That's the way that Matt feels in that situation as well.
Well, no, yeah. And that, again, I don't know. I just didn't like the writing in that section, personally. And frankly enough, I actually got bored in, like, for the, like, first good chunk of this episode, I was bored. Like, it was fine. And that is saying a lot for me for this show so far.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even a lot of the straightforward, okay, so we haven't gotten there in the synapses yet. We do go ahead and get the confrontation with Frank Castle in this episode. Up until that conflict, this episode really wasn't doing it for me. I was at a 3.
I'll touch more into that later as well.
Yeah. I was very just like, okay, we had a super good high last week. We had a good start. You know, a show can't be on a full sprint pace the whole time, so it was passable. It was fine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's like the little bit of time we get, you know, with him playing Matt Murdock, the lawyer. I was like, cool. These are cool scenes for you, but these aren't really like good look of Matt Murdock lawyer scenes either. Like, this is just kind of this feels like there are key points that they had to talk into, like Frank Castle and such. But it feels like a lot of this episode was just kind of like, we could do a little bit of a filler at this point before we get into what is supposed to be some of the bigger stuff next week.
I think I see that vision. Yeah, I can see that.
That also may be why that whole conversation just kind of like passed me. Was I just kind of I was there watching, but I was more like, okay, none of this is really like sticking right now. I also watched this right before we went live, and that might have something to do with it too, because I don't feel good. So I'll rewatch it before next week.
See if we issue a retraction on that 3.
Well,
or is that not your final score? That's not your final score? Okay.
No, we'll come back to my final score. That was my score up until that point. That's so the way I watch if I'm reviewing a show, if I can, is I will start to run numbers in my head while I'm watching it. And when I'm pretty solid, I'll write it down somewhere. So I'd already put it in the computer and, you know, I was a 3. And then something else happens and my score changed. So I changed my score because, again, the whole episode is what we're reviewing. But frankly enough, especially if I'm starting to tune out in an episode, if I get to the end of the episode, I don't remember what I was feeling at the beginning of part of the episode. So it's harder for me to judge it.
Yeah.
So that's where that logic comes from. Proceed.
All right. When Murdock later visits the crime scene where Ayala was murdered, he quickly finds the bullet casing the police couldn't, and he feels the Punisher logo emboldenized, laser etched into it. Murdock uses the discovery as an excuse to pay a visit to an old friend, Frank Castle. In what is one of the highlights of the season so far, Murdock and John Bernthal's Castle reunite on screen for the first time since Castle appeared in the 2nd season of Daredevil. Castle is living in a hideout deep in the basement of a building with a wide variety of guns and crowded evidence boards adorning the walls. When Murdock presents his former client with the bullet casing, it's immediately evident that they both know it doesn't belong to Castle. Although Born Again had previously teased some sort of connection among multiple corrupt NYPD officers, including Officer Powell in episode 2 and a cop observing Ayala's trial in episode 3 by showing their Punisher tattoos, this is the first time that the series has openly acknowledged the existence of this faction of Punisher wannabes. Murdock had apparently figured it all out already, down to the identity of Ayala's killer, who he believes is a rogue cop who chose to take justice, or at least his idea of it, into his own hands, just as Angela had thought, while Matt may have visited Castle under the guise of following up on the bullet casing, Frank quickly picks up on his ulterior motive. Quote, "I don't think you came here for my help," Frank tells Murdock. "See, I think you want my permission. You want to get your hands on somebody, huh? Want to hurt him. Maybe you're a little bit scared. A little scared about what that means." Frank pushes Matt further and further, even citing Nelson and the fact that Murdock failed to save him as the real reason he stopped by. That guilt, that shame, that's my home, Red. Castle continues, addressing Murdock by Castle's pet name for his alter ego. "And I can't see it on you. I can see it on you," is what he says. "I can smell it on you. It's all over you." Frank draws the pain and the rage out of Matt, if only for a moment, and Matt strikes Frank before apologizing for the outburst. Matt begins to break down as he tries to convince Frank and himself that the system worked this time, since Bullseye is serving life in prison for what he did to Foggy. but Frank sticks to his guns as he always has, maintaining that the system is broken as long as someone else, like Bullseye, gets to live while Foggy doesn't. And that line is heavy. They don't quote it here, but oh my God. They're going back and forth at each other, screaming. And he brings up like, oh, he gets to breathe the same air as you because he's still alive. And Matt screams, he got life. He's going to be locked up forever.
Mm-hmm.
And Castle responds, but did Foggy get life? And there's silence for a good solid 5 seconds, and it's a gut punch. And it's hard.
This is the set of scenes that this episode had to get to, and this set of scenes is what brought my score up. This set of scenes is fantastic story writing and fantastic character dialogue. Because we're also getting pieces for people who don't necessarily know Frank Castle into a view who Castle is and how his mental is psyche is at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And we're doing it while not talking about it.
Yeah.
We're able to, through good writing and good acting, show like how far lost at this point Castle is. Because even when referring to the casing being marked the Punisher logo, Castle says straightforward that it's just some wannabe fans or something like that. That is the line he uses, and like that's great. It's acknowledging that Castle knows the Punisher cult exists. He doesn't care. It doesn't involve him. It doesn't affect him. It's some punk cops that want to go do something, as he put it. I think if this scene wasn't in this episode, this would be a washout episode for me.
So, this was part of the reshoots.
It feels like it.
Because this episode is kind of all over the place.
Yes.
Because of the reshoots. And like you can even see earlier on in when he finds the bullet casing, it doesn't have like the logo etched in. But like when you get the close-up shot inside the Punisher's compound, it is.
Yeah.
Which is like a clear indicator that this was part of the reshoots.
Yeah. Yeah. This episode feels weak until we get to the set of scenes.
Yeah.
Which again makes sense that this is part of the reshoot. This is part of the update when they took it. Because like just to be honest with you, if this was without this set of scenes, if this was episode 1, I would have lost interest in the show.
Yeah.
And again, that's what they said is they had to go back and restart the running of the show and start us running, which this leads up and makes more sense of this. I think this was episode 1 initially.
It could have been, yeah.
And so I think we can clearly see where the writing definitely has changed. And you're putting me in a spot. I'm trying to figure out how the best way to word this. I don't feel good, so I'm going to mess this up. We're not a political channel. We do not talk politics. We do not discuss politics. We do not share political views. We are just going to discuss pieces of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness that has happened and such. Okay? I feel like, based on what you took out of the heavy scenes and the dialogue of that, was written more around world events had happened. And that, when taking that, because I didn't even piece together that this was part of the reshoots in this episode.
Yeah.
If we take that into consideration, I don't know this is fact. I don't know this is truth. I just know where the world was a couple years ago. It feels like that would have been written in that retrospect. Makes sense?
Yeah. I mean, but like their conversation here is echoing the same message, though.
What do you mean?
as in like the system is broken, it needs to be restructured.
Yes. It's
I know I'm putting you on the spot here.
You are, and I'm trying to be careful. Again, we play with the line, but we never cross the line because we never want to go ahead and be mean, offensive to anybody. We're never trying to be mean or offensive to anybody. We just try to go ahead and talk about our point of views, be it right or wrong. That's your choice to have. Can we move past it?
Yeah.
I don't know a safe way to word it, and that is our way of going ahead and dealing with that situation.
I mean, like kudos to Marvel for finally having the balls to say stuff, though. Agreed. Because like this is like hard, thought-provoking stuff, in my opinion.
Agreed. It makes me wonder when this episode was written.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
As Murdoch's side of the episode explores the flawed nature of the criminal justice system from multiple angles, Fisk's plotline highlights issues stemming from the mayor's office and the city government. Fisk brings his team to Red Hook to present his master plan to transform its port into a bustling new district, and he seeks to hold a press conference about it immediately. However, his veteran advisor, Sheila, brings him back down to earth. She reminds her boss that there are protocols in place for such a drastic initiative to even become a possibility, and there's all sorts of red tape in their path that needs to be handled before they can consider making a public announcement. After Fisk relents and agrees to go through the proper channels, he spends the rest of his day dealing with the performative nature of his new civic duties. He is forced to sit through multiple renditions of We Built This City, including from a rough children's choir at a middle school, and these scenes are about as funny as anything we've ever seen Vincent D'Onofrio's as Fisk.
Total lie. These are painful.
No, that's why it's funny, because he's just sitting there. He's just sitting there, George Bush reading a story style in a classroom. They gave him like the tiniest chair possible also to make him look even bigger. And like, and they're just singing to him for like what, 2 minutes straight, right? I mean, like there is like an actual like story relevant conversation happening that you're focused on, but they're just singing to him in the background, and he's just sitting there, and he's just like not even smiling through all of it. It's so funny to me. Quote, children have such talent, he stated stiffly at the conclusion of the kids' performance, giving them a standing ovation while simultaneously attempting to escape the room before they begin their second song. With zero warmth whatsoever, he goes on to tell the kids, as they say, the city never sleeps, while he puts on his coat to walk out the door. So then I'm going a little bit off script because they pull specific things out of place to like flow their synopsis better. But like there's a specific line that I thought was hilarious. So there's a news that comes out that someone in his office leaked to the media that Fisk and his team would be meeting with a tech company about their new ideas for recycling in the city that could decrease garbage output and work around existing union contracts. We saw earlier in the episode Fisk's young protege Daniel, who drunkenly bragged about upcoming meeting while clubbing with journalist BB Urich. And they show him on his way inside to a building. They don't tell you what the building is yet, and they show him, and he's going, I want an all-staff meeting now! Where am I? And he's just in the middle of this building, and he doesn't know where he is, and he's just screaming at all of his employees, and I think that's so funny.
You're peeking a bit, but yes, that, again, once we got to the Frank Castle set of scenes, this episode starts to really like pull back on like the writing's all of a sudden gets really good. Like, this scene is hilarious. It is so well set up, and it's fantastic.
And he's all mad, and they take him upstairs to go to this Latvian conference or whatever for Latvian Culture Day, and they have a choir there that starts singing "We Built This City" in Latvian. And he just has this look on his face of like total care, and I think it's the funniest thing that they've done with this character. Anyway, Born Again comically ties its transition between the performance at the Latvian Culture Center to Fisk's violent tantrum back at his office. In a tense moment meeting with his staff, he promises to find a leak. However, Daniel confesses on the spot and somehow manages to win back Fisk's trust and keep his job in private soon after. Although Fisk's day at work provides Born Again with some rare moments of levity, the episode weaves in another segment from the BB report to draw parallels between the city's wider garbage issue on the show and one that New York City faces in real life. Quote, Mayor Fisk, you never see him, a woman tells BB in an interview. Every week it seems like he's involved in a new scandal. I mean, look what just happened with the garbage, and look at all the garbage on the street, you know? How can we trust a guy like that who makes all of these promises to actually have our back? Oh, okay. Apparently that's supposed to be like a jab at Eric Adams, the current mayor of New York.
Yes.
This is coming from the Ringer. That's their opinion, not our own.
Yes.
I know nothing about New York or New York's mayor.
Never been there.
All I know is that's where Spider-Man's from, and the pizza's pretty good, supposedly. That's all I know.
Yeah. When that jab that section came out, I'm like, that's about politics. This is a political episode.
Oh yeah.
This is a
The
political
BB
episode.
report vignettes may be a bit heavy-handed at times, but they help make New York City a character of its own in the series, speaking through the voices of its residents. Towards the end of the episode, Born Again underscores the similarities of Murdoch and Fisk's current experiences, providing a glimpse of their secret escapes into their past lives. As Heather sleeps in Murdoch's appointment, he sneaks away to his roof, where he stores all of his Daredevil equipment. He breaks out his weapons to train, and there's a prevailing sense that this isn't the first time he's done this. Meanwhile, and this is like going back and forth, shot for shot, you see like a shot of Murdoch ascending to the roof, and then a shot of Fisk walking downstairs, and like it's pretty. It's pretty. It's good
storytelling.
It's good storytelling with camera work.
It's showing that Misk and Matt are very much mirroring each other at the moment.
Meanwhile, Fisk has something of a hideout of his own where he keeps the iconic blood-stained white painting from the original Daredevil series, along with a special guest, Adam, the man Vanessa had an affair with after Fisk abruptly left her. In the series premiere, Fisk promised his wife that he wouldn't kill Adam. And while technically he hasn't yet, during another couples therapy session with Heather earlier in the episode, Fisk claimed that he didn't know where Adam was, and here he is, trapped in a cage by Fisk, begged to be freed as the mayor enjoys one of his classic, fanciful solo dining experiences in front of him. Touching on that real quick. Go ahead.
Go on.
Go ahead. Nah, because I think you're telling the same thing I am.
Which is also interesting about this is we've only seen up to this point in Fisk for this new version of Fisk the whole season him eating very delicate, very clean, very nice meals,
and very like lean, smaller portions.
And it takes a good long shot on his plate full of pasta and sausage.
Yeah,
like it's a very hearty, very meaty meal
in front of somebody who's starving in a cage.
Yeah.
Oh,
this last shot is pretty messed up.
Oh yeah,
and it's fantastic.
It's real good.
Like for a villain shot, this is the shot I would expect.
Yes. Six Semper Systema concludes by teasing the show's upcoming villain, a disturbed street artist who wears a creepy mask and goes by the name Muse. And it ends with him pulling are carrying a victim into his lair. Everybody has secret lairs apparently in New York. Where we see some of his drawings, his paintings, and other victims strung up by hooks. Muse in the comics is a serial killer that is also a famous artist under Muse, who uses his victims' blood in his paintings. Also, lore-wise, Muse is the one going around and painting all the murals that you're seeing around New York in the BB Uric sections, the BB report sections. And that's where the synopsis ends. George?
Yeah,
Okay.
no, sorry. This is a quote, okay?
Yep.
Not from the episode. Muse, Earth 616.
Yep.
There's this mystique about art, a shared fiction, if you will. An artist presents a piece to the world in its finished form and pretends that it simply appeared that way, effortlessly birthed from his genius. Both artist and audience prefer to believe that's the truth. It's nice to think that the really good creators have some direct connection to the divine, but it's a lie. In reality, it's hours and hours of missteps, frustration, and bad ideas that get sliced away to reveal some kind of truth. It's never easy. In fact, it's agony. I'm surprised. I was surprised when we saw Muse.
You didn't know Muse was in this going into it? Oh, okay.
I did not like Muse is a bigger villain for Matt, and so it makes sense. Again, we have Fisk, and we're touching in some of these other side stories. I figured Muse was off the table for Marvel. Muse is a very dark villain.
Yeah.
And so I was like, we're going there. Like, we're not showing it yet, but we just now got to his lair. We're going there.
Yeah.
I don't know how much we're gonna see because you get that quick glimpse of the body strung up behind him. Oh.
Yeah. Yep.
And again, that makes me wonder, since we know this episode was reshot, at least sections of it were.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me wonder if this was part of the reshoots or was this not.
I believe Muse was part of the original.
Okay.
Yeah.
That just surprises me.
Mm-hmm.
Because like the team that's doing the really good writing, I could see them bringing it in because we've already seen they don't mind being a little more on edge for Marvel. And Muse, you need to be on edge. Muse is one of the villains in the Daredevil comics. You either love him or you hate him because he's so over the top extreme. There's hardly anybody that's like, he's a fine villain. It's like, no, he's either way over the top for Daredevil or he's, fantastic. We need more gore and blood and such.
All right. Your score.
What? Give me your review of the episode. I kind of did my review through the episode.
Well, so did I. There was a lot of thought-provoking dialogue in this. No action like last week.
Yeah.
Weird back-to-back having that, but I kind of. I wouldn't say I like it. It flows differently.
It flows differently.
Yeah. I don't mind. I would give this episode, I think, a 4.
Okay. Before I give mine, okay.
Yep.
I did pull up from Rotten Tomatoes this episode particularly.
Okay.
According to Rotten Tomatoes, it's 100% tomato meter. That's not actually correct and accurate when I actually opened up the reviews and looked at it. IGN Movies, This is Joshua Zen of IGN Movies. Gave it a 7 out of 10. Daredevil's extended absence for almost 4 episodes has become a point of frustration, but at least this episode is filled with compelling motivation and multiple fronts for Murdoch to finally suit up again. This is the IndieWire top critic. They gave it a score of a B+. Again, I hate how Rotten Tomatoes is. There should be a standardized scoring system. It's been so satisfying watching all these actors reprise their roles in the reboot, but Barthaniel's Punisher is and always has been my knockout. The next score from AV Club, and we'll do one more after this one, gave it a B-. While it's somewhat disheartening to see this week's episode not even attempt to surpass or even match last week's dramatic high point, there's just enough here to sink our teeth into. And then the last one from New York Magazine /Vulture is a 3 out of 5. Episode 4 is all about reminding Matt of how unfixable the system is if it wasn't already clear from Hector's death last week. Actually, we'll do one more. Process Media 6 Semper Sistera is a welcome return to basics for the fledgling superhero reboot. An encouraging sign Born Again heavy rewrites are beginning to bear fruit.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so that pretty much, again, it said 100%. This episode's not 100%.
I wouldn't say that, no.
And that's where these reviews are all coming in, that this week is definitely a letdown compared to last week. It's still solid. And there's still
good.
Here. Because of the Frank Castle, before the Frank Castle scenes, this episode is a 3. This episode is forgettable on that point. Frankly enough, I needed you to give me the synopsis of that first section because I'd forgotten it, and I watched it right before we started this.
Yeah.
So 2 hours ago. Because of Frank's scene and because of the scenes following it and how well the storytelling is, and it's about the halfway point, so it almost makes you wonder if legitimately
next week is technically the halfway point.
No, I mean the episode.
Oh, okay.
So I'm almost wondering if originally they were thinking maybe half-hour episodes, and to fill out the episodes is why they are now an hour to fix the writing, because it does feel like the second half of this episode is a fully different pace than the first half. Even again, the slower scenes where, yeah, we are just in the room with the Punisher and they're just yelling at each other. That is a slow scene. We sit on shots for so long, but they're so fast of slow scenes.
And and the dialogue really, really carries those scenes. And like something that the synopsis didn't really touch into is and you did, was we get a lot of where the Punisher's current psyche is at. And he brings up his son and how he sees his son. And there's just like a moment of very visual storytelling at the end when Murdoch leaves, where Frank begins to break down and he turns away as if he can see his son next to Murdoch as he's leaving, telling him to go help him. Yep. And he turns away and he starts to break down. And it's beautiful. And John Bernthal it constantly reminds me that he is the perfect pick for the Punisher.
Absolutely. But for retrospect of how this pacing is kind of weird this episode, the scene with Fisk sitting there at the children's school, it is a slow scene. It is a painful scene to watch because you are as uncomfortable as Fisk is. It is funny, as Justin put it, but the scene still keeps feeling like it's moving because the camera keeps moving.
The camera's moving, and it takes you to a side dialogue that is extremely important for the next scene. So It's actively developing your next scene and moving the plot along while slugging behind with the current scene. And it's just really good storytelling, but in my opinion,
in the same exact episode, when we go back to, for instance, the scene where he's talking to the guy that stole the caramel corn, that scene is just slow because there really isn't any camera movement. There's nothing much going on. We are focused on the gentleman talking, but even this other scene where Matt leaves and goes and tries to wheel and deal, trying to get a better sentence, these scenes are not creative. They're just, we found a tripod in the corner. We're just going to set it here. Just tell your lines to each other and we'll move to the next scene. And you're like, okay, like, even go back and watch Criminal Minds. Those court scenes alone, there's camera movement continuously because they understand if you're an audience member trying to watch, like us having a discussion straight to a camera is one thing.
Yeah.
If I'm sitting down watching a movie and the movie is shot in this one frame and we're just going to sit here and everything's just going to take place in this one frame, I'm going to get bored of what I'm looking at. The theater is the only exception to the rule.
Yeah.
Because you know you're going to watch a direct look at it, but that's why so many of the background props continuously move. Like even Newsies. I don't know if anybody has ever seen Newsies on Broadway. It is fantastic. It's just as good as the movie. But all their main props is just some scaffolding straight up. However, the scaffolding will change positions on the stage to still give movement and life to the stage and to the performers.
Yes.
And I think that's really what killed this first section of the episode.
I do think there is a reshoot scene in the first half of the episode, though, with the cop. I don't remember his name right now.
I think so.
But I think that's a reshoot scene because of how it gets with its camera. And
the pacing of that shot, the action of that shot, the dialogue, all do not feel like the rest of the scenes around it.
Yeah.
That is, to me, clearly it's clearly a shot out of order, is how I'll word it.
Yeah.
Because you're listening to the way they're talking and such, and like we just heard Matt, and straightforward, when Matt is trying to, wheel and deal for a better sentence, even the tone of his voice is completely different in that part, and when he's talking to his client compared to when he's talking to the officer.
Officer Powell?
Officer Powell.
I think that's right.
I think so. Like when he's talking to his client, he's kind of more in this upper area, more season 1 Matt Murdock, where he's a little bit younger and seems a little bit more fresh. And then we get this when he's talking to his client, he's still kind of up here in this little higher octave area. And then I'm talking to Officer Powell and we're down here. I'm like even if you are trying to portray the same person, your voice is shifting way too much as a person in these scenes.
Mm-hmm.
He's going back as soon as he's, I'm Officer Powell, how are you? And okay, well, good thing is I got you. And you're like, that's a little jarring. Like, what are you doing? Which makes me also wonder, because we never knew necessarily what the original writing for Daredevil was going to be, except for that it was going to be more of a restart.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder if we were supposed to be going back realistically to Matt's early days, because he's really in this episode looking more, his court scenes looks more like a public defender.
Yeah.
Instead of him owning his own private practice. Like, why are you taking this case if you don't want it? Like, what is going on in this episode? And so that, now that you've made the comment that this is a reshoot, I can see it now that I'm thinking logically about it too.
It makes me also wonder, like, were the first 3 episodes all technically reshoot? All of them. And like the whole White Tiger storyline and everything reshoot. Because like that first introduction scene where he's in the morgue is also really good. And it feels like a reshoot comparatively.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's very fascinating.
I'm thinking the White Tiger arc was not something, because it also would not make sense for the White Tiger arc to have happened if this was the restart of Daredevil.
Exactly, because then he wouldn't be fighting for vigilantes.
Well, because vigilantes aren't around yet. Remember, Daredevil in the Daredevil universe is the first vigilante in the area.
Okay, so I found something. This is coming from a Reddit user discussing some interesting keynotes from an interview with the director on episode 4. So this episode is originally shot as a one cut, like Birdman the film, before the overhaul. One residual shot of this is the transition between Daniel leaving the bar and Leroy's introduction. The scenarios are supposed to be seamless transition between each one. So if you remember that, which you probably don't, when they walk out of the bar,
yes,
the camera goes through like a taxi, and it ends on Leroy.
Yes,
in the street.
Yes.
Oh wow. Frank's introduction was originally shot for episode 7, but was retooled into this episode, which tells me that we weren't going to see Daredevil until episode 8.
Yeah.
That might be part of the reason why they did reshoot.
Because again, especially if a lot of the writing was more like this episode was, they would never have made it to episode 8.
Yeah, and like the way that he's acting in that scene is a lot like asking permission. It's a lot of he's not Daredevil yet.
Yeah.
Which tells me we would not have seen Daredevil until episode 8. Jesus Christ. They shot a version of the scene with the White Tiger's amulet shining in the evidence room. So if you know anything about White Tiger, whenever he uses his White Tiger powers, the amulet's eyes glow because his power comes from the amulet.
Yeah.
And then judging from the fact that this episode is credited with writer David Feige and Jesse Wigtow, and according to WGA means the second writer rewrites the script of the first one. It suggests that the episode is reworked to a very large extent compared to the previous two, and the entire White Tiger's murder plotline could very much not exist in the original cut. And the original cut seems to be entirely focused on Matt dealing with Leroy's case and Fisk dealing with the mayor office drama.
Yeah, that's a weak plot then, and
yeah,
what it was originally set as, which makes sense why they reshoot. So, going back to numbers, like you were asking, you were at a 4. You actually came in where I came in at. I came in at a 4.
Yeah.
Again, it was a 3. The Punisher scenes, and from that point on, really brought it up, which now makes sense now that we're talking about all this. Especially for the fact that apparently these scenes weren't supposed to be till episode 7, which is crazy. How do you have a show called Daredevil, but apparently not a plan to show him till episode 8 of your show?
Yeah.
Like, where's the logic? Please explain.
I would like to see the original shoot of this to see how they would do it as a one-shot, though. Because, like, City Hall and the courthouse are probably on opposite sides of the city.
I don't think the whole episode was a one-shot. I think the opening was supposed to be a full one-shot.
No, they said the entire episode was originally shot as a one-shot.
God, that'd be horrible.
That'd be a pain, dude.
That would be awful.
Yeah.
This episode would be garbage. Any guess where we are on our average at this point? This episode did bring us down.
So last week we were at like 8.6, I believe. So we're probably at like 8.3.
We were at last week a 9.16.
A 9 point what?
16.
Okay, so then we're at like a 8.6.
Average of 8.875.
Yeah.
So still solid. This episode's a trek to get through. Hopefully we go back to more 1, 2, and 3 next week. Because at this point, I'm not like I'm still excited to watch next week, but I'm not on the high of last week where I was just like, I need this episode now. Like, it can come when it comes. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anywho.
Next week is a double episode week.
It is.
5 and 6 are next week.
We should be back with regular Tuesday talks on, or not Tuesday talks. That's a very old show.
Wow.
Show in the longest time.
Oh, we did like 2 episodes of that.
The Pop Culture Jungle should be back next Tuesday. The double feature review will be on Wednesday.
Probably at 6 again to allow time for you.
Yeah. Snow White review. It looks like I might be doing that on my own. If so, that will be Saturday. If not, it will be a video that goes up. You'll see what if you follow the channel. Sorry. Sunday, I'll be at Disney, and I'll be filming Food and Wine Festival.
Oh.
So that video should be live Monday or Tuesday, and then next weekend, because we got to keep running.
Yeah, apparently.
I'll be on a cruise ship, and then that following Monday, and then legitimately the end of the weekend on Monday, Justin and I are going to be at Disney for Star Wars Seasons of the Force.
I need to request that day.
You said this last week.
Yep.
And as long as Justin gets the time off, we might be going and building a lightsaber.
Oh, hell.
Go see what the new builds are. But you have to follow the channel to know all that. So be sure to like, follow, and subscribe. Until next time. See you later.
Bye.